YouTube, my friend, the time is serious. You may not know it, but there is a war out there and you're gonna have to choose sides.
In a world where photographers are everywhere.
Anyone can call himself a photographer today, just with a smartphone then.
Where photographers are everywhere, a battle has been raging since the dawn of time.
Let's say about 20 years actually. Yeah, no more.
Stop interrupting me. A battle has been raging since the dawn of time. Two large families of photo formats compete for the throne. Victory will determine which is the most professional. Only one can survive.
Today, we answer the biggest question ever asked. Should we shoot in RAW or JPEG? A little recap for the most beginner among us. JPEG, you necessarily know what it is, unless you never opened that little thing called the internet. It is the most common digital image format used online. The RAW, you may have heard about it, or you have seen it by reading the user's manual of your camera. This is another image recording format that your camera can offer you. Maybe you've already tested it to see, and then you thought, it sucks. My JPEG is all beautiful and flashy, while there, the picture is dull, and in addition, the file is super heavy. It's poop. No, it's not poop. Before we start the battle, I suggest we go for a walk into the matrix.
A digital image is made of pixels, and a pixel is simply a certain amount of information. In computing, information is transcribed by what we call bits. One bit has a binary value. It is a 1 or a 0. This 1-bit image contains only white pixels 1 or black pixels 0. With 2 bits, you double the amount of information possible. In addition to white and black, there are now 2 intermediate values of gray. For 3 bits, we will multiply once again by 2, which will give you 8 gradient values. 4 bits, 5 bits, 6 bits, 7 bits, and finally 8 bits. We now have 256 levels of values that allow us to realistically reflect our image. But there's something missing, isn't there? To transcribe the color, it must be understood that a pixel is composed of 3 layers on which 8 bits of values each will be applied. These 3 layers are red, green and blue. It is the RGB system, which allows us with 3 colors to recreate all the others. A pixel is therefore actually composed of 24 bits. 8 bits on the red channel, 8 on the green channel, 8 on the blue channel. Knowing that a bit is therefore 256 levels, to combine all the possible values, it is necessary to multiply 256 by 256 by 256. We arrive at a total of 16 million colors.
Okay, Nico, why are you talking about this? 1, because it's super interesting. Like, yeah, totally. If you want to take a picture, you have to understand how an image is made. 2, well, your JPEG image is an 8-bit coded image. In 10 bits, we are talking about 1 billion color transcribed. 12 bits, 68 billion colors. 16-bit, 281 billion colors. It's that. The photos taken by your camera are around 12-16 bits of information. All these values, that's the RAW file. It's not really an image, it's the raw data taken by the sensor.
When you record your image in JPEG, your camera takes all the raw information from the sensor and compresses it into a 8-bit format. As there are obviously not as many spaces, it also applies a treatment to the image. It will adjust the contrast of the picture, the saturation of the colors. It performs a first development, as we did on the chemistry of the first photo films. The processing values will depend on the image profile you have selected in your camera. If you record in RAW, no editing is done in any kind. It is up to you to process the image. The visualization you have on your computer is only an interpretation of the raw data. Each change you make in an image editing software will reinterpret this data. For information, RAW is not really an image format. Each brand has its own versions of the RAW. CR2 for Canon, ARW for Sony, NEF for Nikon, RW2 for Panasonic, DNG, and many other extensions exist.
Okay, it's getting a little bit complex, but don't worry, there's plenty of videos on photo editing coming up on the channel. Well, tell yourself one thing, the 8-bit, 16 million colors, is already well beyond the number of colors that the human eye is able to see. I'm not going to talk here about the difference between color space and color depth, but let's say that our eyes is more sensitive to certain shades than others. Working in RAW allows you to have enough data to be able to search for information where there is no information in JPEG.
In this example, I will try to process my image to have a little more material in the sky that is obviously burnt. If I am in JPEG, I'm extremely limited. By editing the RAW file on the other hand, magical, isn't it? Not convinced? Okay, let's do the opposite and talk about low light, because only one thing is certain.
The night is dark and full of terrors.
So well, you'd like to bring the light back on. Do I really need to say more? With such a high level of data, no one can argue that for image processing, RAW literally pulverizes the JPEG.
And yet, despite this obvious superiority, in the world, two groups of photographers compete in bloody battles to determine which of JPEG or RAW deserve to get the throne of the 7 formats. From a qualitative point of view, the superiority of the RAW is unquestionable. So why so many photographers use JPEG? This sweet moment when you make enemies. The argument of the pro JPEG that annoys me the most is those who will tell you that a real photographer doesn't need to have as much possibility to retouch his image. Since he knows to master his camera, he will always have the perfect exposure and his photo will not need any modification when he takes it. First of all, it's not image retouching, it's development. Okay, one, we talk about it. The JPEG is already processed. So why let your camera do what you could do more precisely by yourself? Two, no. You can be the best photographer, all cameras are limited. No exposure value can go further than the dynamic range of the best camera in the world. In a too large difference in value in height and low lights, it is impossible to correctly expose the entire image. And the real photographer will answer you that real photography is about capturing the moment and reality as it is. No need to fix an overexposed sky or a shadow too dark, because that's how it was when you took the picture. Well, no, your eyes saw it correctly, the sky, and you see in the shadows. The human eye has a dynamic range much larger than the camera's. So if you really want what you see at the moment, don't take pictures, just walk around with your eyes. What irritates me about this argument is that the real photographer does not process, even in a minimal way, the photos he takes. On the one hand, because he is so good that his settings are sufficient for perfect exposure, but above all, because it does not alter what it takes. The real photograph will be an exact transcription of reality. The real colors, the real situation, the myth of photo retouching is evil, that it did not exist in the perfect world before the birth of digital photography. Only the real ones know.
1860, one of Abraham Lincoln's most famous photos, except that in fact the original photo is a portrait of John Calhoun, who died 10 years earlier. They just switched their heads 130 years before the birth of Photoshop and the democratization of digital images.
And this is one example out of millions. Image editing, processing, and retouching have existed since the invention of photography. Well, that could be a great video actually, the image retouching through history before Photoshop. Tell me if you're interested in the comment section. Okay, listen to me now. Whether you're a pro or not, photography is not a transcription of reality. It's always an interpretation of reality. Behind each photograph, there is an artistic intention. Artistic in the broadest sense. The search for aesthetic. Well, I'm not saying that we are looking for beauty, but aesthetics. There is an intention behind every picture taken. Yeah, always. Even photojournalism is an interpretation of events as close as possible to reality, but not the reality itself. The simple fact of framing an image is already telling something and therefore putting an intention behind it. Even you, when you take picture of grandma on your little cousin's birthday, you want the picture to be pretty, sharp, well exposed and avoid that kind of faces. Yet they had that face for a second. That was the reality. To the extent that a photo is an interpretation of the person taking it, all alterations are valid. Questionable, right, of course, but valid. Trying to get as close as possible to the reality of the moment is an artistic approach. And it is as legitimate as modifying colors by saturating them or modifying a color balance to have something warmer because that is the feeling you are looking to express. And it's funny because every time I talk to a real photographer who only uses JPEG, you realize that in fact he doesn't really know the advantages of RAW, and that it's often a lack of knowledge in editing that has guided these choices and made him choose the simplicity of JPEG. Okay, you're gonna give me out full of counterexample. You're a real photographer and you know Lightroom from A to Z. Alright, okay, I take it back. Why I started this whole philosophical debate? Yeah, because there's nothing that bothers me more than the argument that we wouldn't need all this information for retouching, and that a good photographer can perfectly have good photos with the JPEG. Yeah, of course. That's totally not the point. But having a palette at hand that allows you to go much further, to express yourself much more, and not using it, but it's like if you have to choose between using all the content of a dictionary or limiting yourself to a single vocabulary word because someone has parasited your brain in the past. Oh no, not that scene again, I'm gonna cry. I think my demonstration convinced you. There is only one family to follow, and that is the RAW family. Listen to me, you behind the camera, especially you who's starting photography. A real photographer shoots in RAW. Period. No, I'm not asking you. You're shooting RAW now. Let the JPEG enjoy its fame of the most used format on the web. It makes it happy. It thinks it is safe. But when it will not expect. Celebrating its apparent hegemony, we, the RAW team, will be there. And so, the RAW team send their regards. Convinced? Okay, come on, let's be serious. RAW is not a religion. JPEG is not a religion. There's only tools. The RAW will require a lot of learning when you are a beginner to know how to process it. It will also require a lot of editing time. It is much heavier than a JPEG, so you will need more space on your hard drive or on your memory cards. That's why a lot of professional photographers choose to shoot in JPEG, and they're right. They need to transfer, process images quickly or otherwise. It corresponds to their practice of photography. Am I part of the RAW team? Yeah. Oh yes. I like to work on my images. For me, the practice of photography is only 50% at the shooting. Once again, my advice will always be the same. Test by yourself. Yes, you're gonna have to learn image editing. Yes, it's long, but I will do a lot of tutorial on this channel and I promise to make it fun. The only truth is there. How to choose if you need to shoot in RAW or JPEG? Experience. Try, test, have fun. If you decide that using JPEG brings you more advantage, then do it. Shoot in the format you want. Just do it for the right reasons. Please don't become this moron for whom the real photographer does this or that without any nuance. Shoot in RAW or JPEG, in film or digital, edit your images or not. That's not the real photographer. The real photographer is the one who takes his camera, goes out and takes pictures. The real photographer, whatever your level, is you. Time to say goodbye. I suggest you to share this video with all the real photographers you know. Tell me in the comment section if you are one of the Starks or Lannister, I mean RAW or JPEG. And don't forget, the real photographer is the one who subscribes to this channel and explode that like button. Seriously. See you mate, keep on creating. Oh, and don't forget to ring the bell.